The garden atrium of Harmony 7 Station was supposed to be peaceful. Plants from 100 different worlds grew under artificial sunlight. Water fountains made soft sounds. But today the peace was broken by the sound of someone crying. Princess Vera sat on a stone bench meant for creatures much smaller than her. Her massive body, covered in thick gray skin, shook with each sob. She was a Quilvan, a species that looked like elephants if elephants could stand on 2 legs and wear fancy robes. She was 8 feet tall and weighed more than 3 human men combined. Hyun pushed his cleaning cart past the entrance to the garden. He was a janitor on the station. A simple job for a man who wanted simple things. He was 40 years old with tired eyes and hands that knew how to fix almost anything. He wore the plain gray uniform that all maintenance workers wore. He heard the crying and stopped. It was not his business. He had learned long ago to keep his head down and do his work. But something about the sound made him pause. It was not the cry of someone who was hurt. It was the cry of someone who had given up hope. Hyun looked around. No one else was nearby. He took a deep breath and pushed his cart into the garden. Vara did not notice him at first. Her large hands covered her face. Her trunk, which hung between her eyes like a short elephant trunk, trembled. She wore purple robes with gold symbols that marked her as royalty. Hyun cleared his throat quietly. "Excuse me. Are you okay?" Vara jerked her head up. Her eyes were huge and golden, with tears running down her gray cheeks. She looked at Hyun and quickly tried to wipe her face. "I am fine." "Please go away." Hyun should have listened. Instead, he parked his cart and sat on a bench across from her. He said nothing. He just waited. After a long moment, Vara spoke again. Her voice was deep but soft. "You are human." "Yes," Hyun said. "I have heard humans are kind." "Is that true?" Hyun shrugged. "Some are. Some are not. Like any species, I think." Vara nodded slowly. She looked down at her hands. They were massive hands, each finger as thick as a human arm. "Tomorrow is the peace ceremony. Do you know about it?" "A little," Hyun said. "The Quilvan Empire and the Talgrid Republic are signing a treaty. Ending the war. Yes, there is a tradition. The Bridge of Unity. Each leader must be carried across it by members of the other species. To show trust, to show that we will support each other." Vara's voice broke. "But no one can carry me." Hyun looked at her carefully. He understood now. "You are too heavy." "Yes." The word came out like a confession. "I am heavier than other Quilvan. I always have been. My family is ashamed. Other royals whisper about me. They say I eat too much. They say I am lazy. They say I am not fit to be a princess." She looked at Hyun with those golden eyes full of pain. Today they tried again. A team of Greshkin porters. They are strong, with 6 arms each. 4 of them tried to carry me across a practice bridge. They dropped me halfway. Hyun winced. "Were you hurt?" "My body is fine. My pride is dead." Farah laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "This has happened 5 times now. 5 different species have tried. All have failed. Some dropped me. Some refused after trying to lift me. One team did not even try. They looked at me and walked away." She wiped her eyes again. "The ceremony is tomorrow. If I cannot be carried across the bridge, the treaty might fail. Both sides will say the other did not show proper respect. The war will continue. Millions will die, all because I am too fat." Hyun was quiet for a moment. He thought about many things. He thought about his own past. He thought about the war he had fought in. He thought about the friends he had lost. He thought about how small actions could change everything. "What happens if you walk across yourself?" he asked. "It breaks the tradition. It would be seen as an insult. The ceremony is about trust, about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, about being carried by those who were once enemies." Vara shook her head. "I must be carried." "But no one can do it." Hyun stood up. He walked closer to Vara. Standing next to her, he looked tiny. The top of his head barely reached her shoulder. "How much do you weigh?" he asked. "In human measurements," Vara blinked. "I do not know exactly. Perhaps 360 kilograms. Maybe more." Hyun did the math in his head. About 800 pounds. He was a strong man, but there was no way he could lift that much. No human could. Not without help, but humans were good at finding help. "I might have an idea," Hyun said slowly, "but I need to check some things. Can you meet me in Maintenance Bay 3 tomorrow morning? Early, before the sun simulation turns on." Vara stared at him. "Why? Just trust me." Can you do that? I do not even know your name, Hyun. I am just a janitor. But I used to build other things, he smiled a little. Before I decided to clean floors instead, Vera studied his face. She saw something there. Not pity, not disgust. Just a man thinking about a problem, treating her question like it was worth solving. Why would you help me? She asked quietly. You do not know me. This is not your problem. Hyun picked up his cleaning cart. He thought about his answer for a moment. Because you asked. And because someone should. He started to push his cart away. Then he stopped and looked back. Oh, and Princess Vera? You are not too fat. You are exactly who you are. The problem is not your weight. The problem is that everyone else is thinking too small. He left the garden, pushing his cart with its squeaky wheel. Vera sat alone again, but this time she was not crying. She was thinking. She was wondering. She was hoping. That night, Hyun did not sleep. He went to the maintenance bay where old equipment was stored. He pulled out tools and parts. He made sketches. He did calculations. He sent a message to his friend Minji, another human who worked on the station. The message said, I need your help. I am doing something stupid. Are you in? Minji's response came back immediately. Always. What are we building? Hyun smiled. Humans might not be the strongest species in the galaxy. They might not be the smartest or the fastest. But they were the species that looked at impossible problems and said, let me get my tools. Tomorrow he would show Princess Vera that being carried was not about strength. It was about will. And humans had plenty of that. The maintenance bay was cold before the station's day cycle began. Hyun had been working for 6 hours straight. His hands were dirty with grease and his back hurt, but his eyes were bright with focus. Around him, pieces of metal and wire covered the floor like a strange puzzle. Minji arrived carrying 2 cups of coffee. She was 30 years old with short black hair, and the kind of smile that made people trust her immediately. She worked as a technician on the station, fixing everything from air filters to gravity generators. She looked at the mess Hyun had made and whistled low. You have been busy. Not busy enough, Hyun said. He took the coffee and drank it fast. I need another servo motor. The one from the cargo loader is too slow. Tell me again why we are building this? Minji asked. But she was already walking to a storage locker, pulling out parts. Because a princess asked me to carry her. And you said yes? Not yet, but I am going to. Minji brought the motor to him. She looked at his sketches on a data pad. Her eyes went wide. Hyun, this is an exoskeleton. A full mechanical frame. You are planning to wear this thing? Yes. Do you know how dangerous that is? If the weight distribution is wrong, it will crush your spine. If the power fails, you will be trapped. If the hydraulics burst, I know the risks, Hyun said quietly. He was connecting wires with steady hands. I built similar things during the war. Remember? I designed the rescue frames, the ones we used to pull soldiers out of collapsed buildings. Minji was quiet for a moment. She knew about Hyun's past. He had been a military engineer during the Human-Talgrid War. He had saved many lives with his designs. He had also watched many friends die. After the war ended, he could not design weapons anymore. He could not design anything that might be used for fighting. So he became a janitor instead. This is different, Minji said gently. Those frames were tested, approved, built in factories. This is junk held together with hope. It is what I have, Hyun said. And it will work. It has to work. They worked together in silence for a while. Minji welded joints while Hyun programmed the control system. They used parts from old cleaning robots, cargo movers, and even a broken exercise machine. Nothing matched. Everything looked wrong. But slowly something began to take shape. The exoskeleton looked like a metal skeleton that a person could wear. It had leg braces that would wrap around Hyun's legs. It had a back support that would carry the weight. It had arm extensions with powerful hydraulic lifts. The whole thing was powered by 3 battery packs stolen from maintenance vehicles. It looks like a monster, Minji said. It looks like possibility, Hyun replied. As they worked, Minji asked the question that had been bothering her. Why are you doing this? Really, you could lose your job. You could get hurt. This princess is not your responsibility. Hyun stopped working. He looked at his hands. They were old hands now, covered in scars and calluses. Do you remember the siege of New Seoul? He asked. Minji nodded. Everyone who fought in the war remembered that battle. I was trapped under a building for 8 hours, Hyun said. I could not move. I thought I would die there. Then someone came. A soldier I did not know. He was small, maybe 60 kilograms. There was no way he could lift the concrete off me. Hyun smiled at the memory, but he did not give up. He found a metal bar. He used it as a lever. He worked for 3 hours, moving rocks one at a time. He made a path. He pulled me out. I asked him why he tried so hard for a stranger. Do you know what he said? What? He said, because you are here and I am here, and that means something. Hyun went back to his work. Princess Vara asked me if I would carry her. Not if I could. If I would! That means she needs someone who will try. So I am trying. Minji shook her head, but she was smiling. You are crazy, but okay. Let us finish this thing. The sun simulation began to glow through the windows. They had been working all night. The exoskeleton was complete. It looked rough and ugly, but it was finished. Hyun was connecting the last power cable when the door to the maintenance bay opened. Princess Vara entered, ducking her head to fit through the doorway. She looked nervous. Her golden eyes found Hyun immediately. You are really here, she said softly. I said I would be, Hyun replied. He stood up, his knees cracking. Princess Vara, this is my friend Minji. Minji bowed. Hello, welcome to our workshop of crazy ideas. Vara looked around at the mess. Then she saw the exoskeleton. Her trunk lifted in surprise. What is that? Your answer, Hyun said. He walked over to the metal frame. It is an exoskeleton. A machine that I wear. It will make me strong enough to carry you. Vara moved closer. Her huge hands touched the metal gently, almost afraid to break it. You built this? In one night? We built it, Minji corrected. And yes, it is not pretty, but it should work. Should? Vara's voice rose a little. Will, Hyun said firmly. It will work. Let me show you. He began putting on the exoskeleton. It took several minutes. First, he strapped on the leg braces. Then he connected the back support. Finally, he locked the arm extensions into place. The whole thing hummed with power. Minji activated the control system from a data pad. Okay, Hyun, try walking. Hyun took a step. The exoskeleton moved with him, supporting his weight. He took another step. Then another. It was awkward at first, like learning to walk again. But his body remembered this feeling from the war. He had worn machines like this before. Good, Minji said. Now let us test the lift capacity. They had prepared for this. In the corner of the bay were 3 heavy cargo crates. Each one weighed 150 kilograms. Together they weighed about as much as Princess Vara. Hyun walked to the crates. He bent down slowly. The exoskeleton's joints whined but held. He wrapped his arms around all 3 crates. Then he lifted. The exoskeleton's hydraulics hissed. The motors whined. The frame creaked. But slowly Hyun stood up. He was holding 3 crates that weighed 450 kilograms. He was carrying them like they were made of paper. Vara gasped. Her trunk curled in amazement. Hyun walked across the bay. His steps were slow but steady. He turned around. He walked back. Then he gently set the crates down, you see? He said, breathing hard. It works, Vara was crying again. But these were different tears. These were tears of something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. No one has ever, she started to say. Then she could not finish. She just stood there, this huge alien princess crying in a dirty maintenance bay. Minji handed her a towel. It looked tiny in Vara's massive hands. It is okay. Hyun does this kind of thing. He cannot help himself, Vara wiped her eyes. She looked at Hyun, who was taking off the exoskeleton. Why? She asked. Humans are not strong like other species. You do not have 6 arms or thick skin or powerful muscles. Why do you try so hard? Hyun finished removing the leg braces. He looked up at her. Because we do not have those things, he said simply. Humans are weak. So we learn to build tools. We learn to think differently. We learned that strength is not just about muscles. It is about refusing to give up. He stood and brushed dirt off his uniform. You asked me yesterday if I would carry you. My answer is yes. I will carry you across that bridge tomorrow. Not because I am strong, but because I choose to try. Vara knelt down. Even kneeling, she was taller than Hyun. She reached out one massive hand. Hyun took it. Her hand wrapped completely around his. Thank you, she said. I do not know how to repay this. Just be ready at the ceremony, Hyun said. And maybe smile a little. You have a nice smile. Vara did smile then. It was small and uncertain, but it was real. Minji checked her datapad. We should practice more. The ceremony is in 14 hours. We need to make sure Hyun can actually carry you, not just boxes. Agreed, Hyun said. Princess, are you willing to let me try? Vara nodded. She stood up to her full height. Yes, I trust you. Those words felt heavy. Heavier than any weight Hyun would carry, because trust was the hardest thing to lift. And the most important, he put the exoskeleton back on. This time he moved faster, more confident. When he was ready, he walked to Vara. I will lift you now, he said. Are you ready? Yes, Hyun bent down. Vara sat on his extended arms. Then he lifted. The exoskeleton screamed with effort. Every joint shook. But Hyun stood up. He was carrying Princess Vara. All 8 feet and 800 pounds of her. He took one step. Then another. He walked across the maintenance bay with the princess in his arms. Vara laughed. It was a sound of pure joy. I feel weightless, she said, like I am flying. Hyun smiled despite the strain. That is the idea. He carried her for 2 minutes before setting her down gently. When he took off the exoskeleton, his whole body was shaking, but he was grinning. We can do this, he said. Minji was checking the systems. Her face was worried. The power cells are draining faster than I calculated. We might not have enough charge for the full ceremony tomorrow. Then we get better batteries, Hyun said. From where? We already used the best ones we could find. Hyun thought for a moment. What about the emergency power cells? The ones for the escape pods? Those are illegal to remove. So is building an unauthorized exoskeleton, Hyun pointed out. Minji laughed. Fair point. Okay, let us go steal some batteries. As they worked, Princess Vara watched them. These humans, so small and fragile compared to most species, but they did not give up. They did not say things were impossible. They just found ways to make them possible. For the first time in years, Vara believed that tomorrow the message came early in the morning. Hyun was in his small quarters trying to sleep for a few hours before the ceremony. His datapad beeped with an urgent alert. Janitor Hyun. Report to administration office immediately. This is not optional, Hyun sat up. His body hurt from the night of work. His hands were still sore from carrying the princess during practice. He looked at the time. The ceremony was in 6 hours. He got dressed and went to the administration office. It was on the upper levels of the station where the important people worked. Hyun had only been there once before when he first got hired. The secretary, a tall insect-like alien with 4 eyes, looked at him with disgust. You are late. Administrator Grix is waiting. Hyun was shown into a large office. Administrator Grix sat behind a massive desk. He was a reptilian alien with green scales and yellow eyes. He wore expensive robes and had golden rings on his claws. He looked at Hyun the way someone looks at dirt on their shoe. Sit, Grix said. It was not a request. Hyun sat in a chair that was too small for most species but right for humans. He waited. Grix tapped his claws on the desk. I have received a complaint. About you. From who? From the Quilvan ambassador. He is very upset. He says you have been interfering with Princess Vara. He says you built some kind of machine. He says you plan to use it during the peace ceremony today. Hyun said nothing. Is this true? Grix demanded. Yes, Grix's eyes widened. You admit it? You built an unauthorized device using station property? You plan to disrupt a diplomatic ceremony. I plan to help Princess Vara, Hyun said calmly. She asked me to carry her across the Bridge of Unity. I said yes. Grix laughed. It was not a nice laugh. You, a janitor? You think you can carry a Quilvan princess? Do you know how insulting this is? You make a mockery of their royal traditions. How is it a mockery to help someone? Because you are nobody! Grix stood up, his tail swishing with anger. You are a human janitor. You clean floors. You are not worthy to even speak to Princess Vara, let alone carry her. The Quilvan ambassador is offended. He thinks this is a human joke? He thinks you are making fun of the princess's weight. Hyun felt anger rise in his chest. That is not true. I am trying to help her. You are trying to get attention, Grix said. Humans always do this. Always trying to be heroes. Always interfering in things that are not their business. He pointed a claw at Hyun. I forbid you from participating in the ceremony. You will not wear your machine. You will not go near Princess Vara. You will stay in maintenance areas where you belong. But the princess needs proper porters. I have arranged for a team of Carvon lifters. They are professionals. They will carry her with dignity. Not with some cobbled-together machine that will probably explode. Hyun stood up. The princess trusts me. She wants me to carry her. The princess is confused and embarrassed, Grix said coldly. She does not know what she wants. I am doing what is best for everyone. You are dismissed. And if you try to attend the ceremony, I will have security arrest you. Hyun left the office. His hands were shaking with anger. He went back to the maintenance bay where Minji was waiting with the exoskeleton. What happened? She asked, seeing his face. He told her everything. When he finished, Minji was quiet for a long moment. So what do we do? She asked. I do not know, Hyun admitted. The door to the bay opened. Princess Vara entered quickly, followed by an older Quilvan male in official robes. The male looked angry. Princess, he said sharply. You should not be here. Ambassador Boren, please, Vara said. Let me explain. There is nothing to explain. This human has insulted you. He has insulted our entire species. I have complained to Administrator Grix. The matter is settled. Vara turned to face the ambassador. She was taller than him and her voice was strong. Hyun has not insulted me. He is the only one who has treated me with kindness. By building a machine? By treating you like cargo that needs special equipment? Ambassador Boren shook his head. This is humiliating. I am trying to protect you, Princess. You are trying to protect yourself, Vara said quietly. You are embarrassed that a human janitor succeeded where 5 other species failed. You do not care about my dignity. You care about your reputation. The ambassador's trunk curled in anger. How dare you speak to me this way? I serve your father. I have arranged this entire peace ceremony, and you thank me by trusting a human over your own people? I trust someone who saw me as a person, not a problem, Vara replied. Before the ambassador could respond, more people arrived. Human Ambassador Taewon entered with 2 security officers. Taewon was 50 years old with gray hair and a tired face. He had been a diplomat for 20 years. Janitor Hyun, Taewon said formally. I need to speak with you. They went to a small meeting room. Ambassador Taewon sat down heavily. Do you understand the situation you have created? I am trying to help Princess Vara. I know. And I believe your intentions are good. But good intentions do not matter in diplomacy. What matters is perception, and right now the Quilvan delegation thinks humans are mocking their princess. That is not what I am doing. I know that. You know that. Even Princess Vara knows that. But her ambassador does not believe it, and more importantly, other delegates are starting to talk. They think this is a human publicity stunt. They think we are trying to make ourselves look good at the Quilvan's expense. Taewon rubbed his face. This peace treaty is fragile. The war killed millions on both sides. There are people who want it to fail. They want an excuse to keep fighting. If this ceremony goes wrong, if the Quilvan feel insulted, the whole treaty could collapse. So what are you saying? I am saying that I need you to step back. Let the professional porters carry Princess Vara. Let this ceremony happen without complications. Hyun was quiet for a moment. And if the porters drop her again? They won't. Administrator Grix has arranged for the best team available. He arranged the other 5 teams too, Hyun pointed out. They all failed, Taewon sighed, I know. But this is bigger than one person's feelings. This is about peace between 2 civilizations, is it? Hyun asked. Or is it about us looking good? About not embarrassing ourselves? It is about both, Taewon said honestly. That is what diplomacy is. It is not fair. It is not always right. But it is necessary, Hyun stood up. I made a promise to Princess Vara. I told her I would carry her. I am going to keep that promise. If you do, I cannot protect you. You will be arrested. You will lose your job. You might be deported from the station. I understand. Taewon looked at him with sad eyes. Why are you willing to risk so much for someone you just met? Hyun thought about the question. He thought about the soldier who saved him during the war. He thought about all the times someone had helped him when they did not have to. He thought about what it meant to be human. Because she asked, Hyun said simply, and because no one else would. He left the meeting room. Outside, Minji was waiting with several other humans. He recognized them. Jisoo, an engineer who worked on the station's power systems. Daeho, a medic in the station hospital. Selman, a security officer. We heard what happened, Jisoo said. We are with you. This could get you all in trouble, Hyun warned. Good thing we are used to trouble, Daeho said with a grin. Soman stepped forward. She was the tallest of them, with sharp eyes. I checked the ceremony schedule. Security will be focused on the main hall. If we time it right, we can get you and the exoskeleton into position. You would risk your jobs for this? Hyun asked. We are not doing it for you, Jisoo said. We are doing it because it is right. Because that princess deserves to be treated with respect. And because humans help people. That is what we do. Hyun felt emotion rise in his throat. He had spent years trying to stay quiet, to avoid attention, to just do his job and go home. But these people were willing to stand with him. Thank you, he said quietly. Minji checked her datapad. We have 4 hours until the ceremony. We need to move the exoskeleton into position. We need to plan the route. And we need to be ready for security. They spent the next hours planning. They studied maps of the station. They identified service corridors that led to the Grand Hall. They prepared backup power cells and spare parts. Princess Vera came to see them one more time before the ceremony. She looked scared but determined. Are you sure about this? She asked Hyun. Are you? He replied. She nodded slowly. Yes, I trust you. Then we do this together, Hyun said. When the moment comes, I will be there. Vera smiled. Then she left to prepare for the ceremony. Hyun put on the exoskeleton. It felt familiar now, like a second skin. He tested the joints one more time. Everything worked, remember, Minji said. The power cells will last exactly 18 minutes at full load. After that, the system will fail. You need to get across that bridge in less time. I will, Hyun promised. Ambassador Taewon came to see him one last time. He looked at Hyun and the exoskeleton. He looked at the other humans standing ready to help. I cannot officially support this, Taewon said. But unofficially, I am proud of you. All of you. This is what humanity should be. He turned to leave, then stopped. If you do this, do it right. Show them what humans can do. Show them that strength comes in many forms. I will, Hyun said. The time for the ceremony approached. Hyun and his far, the first step was the hardest. Hyun's legs shook as the exoskeleton took Princess Vara's full weight. Every joint in the machine hummed with strain. Every servo motor worked at maximum power. The hydraulics hissed like angry snakes. But Hyun stood. He stood with 800 pounds in his arms. He stood in front of thousands of aliens who were watching with open mouths and wide eyes. He stood because he had promised. I have you, he said quietly to Vara. She looked down at him. Her golden eyes were wet with tears. I know. Hyun took his second step toward the Bridge of Unity, then his third. The crowd was still making noise. Some shouted in anger. Others shouted in surprise. Administrator Grix was screaming for security. Ambassador Bourne was trying to stop the ceremony. But Ambassador Taewon stood in front of them all. His voice carried across the hall. Let him walk. This is what the Bridge of Unity means: trust, support. Carrying each other when we are weak. This human understands it better than any of us. Hyun reached the bridge. It was made of crystal that glowed blue and purple. It was 50 meters long. 50 meters that might as well have been 1,000 kilometers. He stepped onto the bridge. The crystal held his weight. The exoskeleton's metal feet made ringing sounds with each step. Hyun focused on his breathing. In and out, steady, calm. Princess Vera was quiet in his arms. She was trying not to move, trying to make herself as light as possible. But Hyun could feel her trembling. Talk to me, he said. It helps if we talk. About what? Her voice was soft, anything. Tell me about your home. Vera was quiet for a moment. Then she began to speak. I grew up in the Golden Palace on Quilvena. It has 1,000 rooms, gardens with flowers that sing, rivers that flow with water the color of sunset. Hyun took another step, then another. The bridge was 1/4 crossed. It sounds beautiful, he said. It is. But I was always alone there. My family would hold great feasts. Everyone would come. But I would eat by myself in my room. They said I would embarrass them if I came to dinner. They said I ate too much, that I was too big, too ugly. Hyun's jaw tightened with anger, but his voice stayed gentle. They were wrong. They are my family. Family can be wrong. Being related does not make someone right. Another step. The exoskeleton was getting hot. Hyun could feel the heat through his clothes. Minji had warned him about this. The motors were working too hard. They were starting to overheat. In the crowd, he could see his friends. Minji had her datapad out, monitoring the exoskeleton systems. Her face was worried. Jisoo stood ready with spare parts. Daeho had medical equipment in case something went wrong. Soman was arguing with other security officers, keeping them back. "Tell me about your family," Vera said suddenly. "Are they kind to you?" Hyun smiled a little. "I do not have much family. My parents died when I was young. I have a sister, but we do not talk much. She thinks I wasted my life. She wanted me to stay an engineer, to keep building important things. She does not understand why I became a janitor." "Why did you?" Hyun thought about how to answer. "During the war, I built machines that saved people, but I also built machines that killed people. Both used the same science, the same skills. After the war ended, I could not do it anymore. I could not build things that might hurt someone even by accident. So I clean floors now. It is simple. It is honest. And at the end of the day, I know I helped make the world a little cleaner." "That is not wasting your life," Vara said. "That is choosing kindness over power." They were halfway across now. Hyun's muscles were screaming. His back felt like it was on fire. The exoskeleton was taking most of the weight, but not all of it. His body still had to move, still had to balance, still had to keep going. A warning light flashed on his helmet display. The power cells were draining faster than expected. He had maybe 8 minutes of power left. The walk would take 10 minutes at this speed. He did not tell Vera. He just kept walking. In the crowd, the noise was changing. The angry shouts were getting quieter. More species were watching in silence. Some were leaning forward, watching closely. They could see Hyun struggling. They could see his legs shaking. They could see that every step was agony, and they could see that he was not giving up. An old Quilvan female in the crowd stood up. She began to clap her hands together slowly. The sound echoed across the hall. Then another Quilvan joined her. Then another. Soon dozens of Quilvan were clapping. The rhythm was steady, strong. It matched Hyun's steps. Other species did not understand at first. But then they began to clap too. Humans clapped. The insectoid Greshkin clicked their mandibles. The crystalline Talgrid chimed like bells. The reptilian delegates tapped their tails on the floor. The entire hall became a symphony of support. Thousands of beings making noise to encourage one small human carrying one heavy princess. Hyun felt tears on his face. He did not know if they were his or if they were Vera's tears dripping down. Maybe both. "They are cheering for you," Vera whispered. "No," Hyun said. "They are cheering for us, for what we represent." Another warning light. The hydraulics were overheating. One of them was starting to fail. Hyun felt the exoskeleton lean slightly to the left. He compensated, shifting his weight. His right leg took more pressure. Pain shot through his knee. He kept walking. "Hyun?" Vara's voice was worried. "Something is wrong. I can feel it." "We are fine," he lied. "Put me down. Please. Before you get hurt." "No. I am not worth this. I am just—" "You are a person," Hyun said firmly. "You are someone who deserves to be carried. You are someone who deserves to be seen. You are someone who matters. And I will not put you down." 3/4 across. The power cells were at 15%. The left hydraulic had failed completely. Hyun's left arm hung useless. He was carrying Vara with one mechanical arm and all his will. In the crowd, Minji was trying to reach him. She was shouting something about stopping, about resting. But Hyun could not stop. If he stopped, he might not start again. Ambassador Boren stood up. He looked at Ambassador Taewon. "This is insane. The human will kill himself. Stop this madness." Taewon looked at Hyun, then at Boren. "That is not my choice to make. It is his." Boren turned to Vara. "Princess, order him to stop." Vara looked down at Hyun. His face was red with effort. His breath came in gasps. But his eyes were clear, determined. She saw something in those eyes. She saw a promise being kept. "No," she said to the ambassador. "Let him finish. 10 meters left." The power cells hit 10%. The exoskeleton would fail in less than 2 minutes. Hyun could feel his body starting to give out. His vision was getting blurry. His legs were going numb. He thought about the soldier who saved him during the war. He thought about that 3-hour struggle to move rocks one at a time. He thought about what it meant to not give up. 5 meters. The right hydraulic began to fail. The exoskeleton was dying. Soon it would be just Hyun and his human strength. His weak, fragile human strength that could never carry 800 pounds. But he only needed to carry her 5 more meters. 3 meters. The power hit 5%. The exoskeleton's motors were whining like wounded animals. Metal was grinding against metal. Something in the back support cracked with a sound like a gunshot. Vera gasped. Hyun, please. Almost there, he whispered. 2 meters. The power died. The exoskeleton froze. Suddenly, all of Vera's weight fell on Hyun's human body. He screamed with the pain. His knees buckled. He started to fall, but then hands caught him. Human hands. Minji had run onto the bridge. Jisoo was right behind her. They grabbed the exoskeleton, supporting it. Supporting him, we have you, Minji said. 1 more meter together. Daeho appeared on Hyun's other side. Then Soman, 4 humans working together carrying the weight. They took 1 step forward. Then another. The crowd was on their feet now. Every species. Every delegate. All standing. All watching. The noise was deafening. 1 more step. They reached the end of the bridge. Hyun and his friends gently lowered Princess Vara to the ground. The moment her feet touched the crystal, the exoskeleton fell apart. Metal pieces clattered to the floor. The frame collapsed. Hyun collapsed too. He fell to his knees, gasping for air. His body shook with exhaustion. He could not feel his legs. He could barely see, but they had made it. They had crossed the bridge of unity. Princess Vera knelt beside him. Her huge hands were gentle as she touched his face. You did it. You carried me. Hyun tried to smile. We all carried you. That is what humans do. We help each other. We work together. Because alone we are weak, but together we are strong. The grand hall erupted in applause. It was not polite diplomatic clapping. It was genuine thunderous applause. Species that had hated each other were clapping together. The noise shook the walls. Administrator Grick stood with his mouth open, unable to speak. Ambassador Boren had tears running down his face. Ambassador Taewon was smiling wider than he had smiled in years. The old Quilvan female who had started the clapping earlier approached the bridge. She bowed deeply to Hyun. Human, she said in a voice that carried across the hall. You have shown us what true strength is. You have honored our princess more than any of us. You have honored us all. Other Quilvan came forward. They bowed to Hyun. They bowed to his friends. They bowed to Princess Vara, who had been brave enough to ask for help, who had been brave enough to trust. Medical staff rushed to help Hyun. They checked his vitals. Hyun woke up in the station hospital 2 days after the ceremony. His whole body hurt. The doctor said he had damaged muscles, strained ligaments, and pushed his body past safe limits. They said he was lucky to be alive. He did not feel lucky. He felt like he had been hit by a transport ship. Minji was sitting in a chair next to his bed. She looked tired but smiled when she saw him wake up. Welcome back. You scared us. How long was I asleep? His voice was rough. 48 hours. The doctors sedated you so your body could heal. They said you are the stubborn type who would not rest otherwise. Hyun tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Everything hurt. The ceremony. Did they sign the treaty? Yes, 2 hours after you collapsed. Both sides signed. The war is officially over. Minji's smile grew wider. You are famous now. The walk has been seen by billions of beings across the galaxy. Everyone is talking about the human janitor who carried a princess. Hyun groaned. I did not want to be famous. Too bad. You are a hero. She handed him a datapad. Look at this. The screen showed news reports from across the galaxy. Videos of his walk. Articles about human determination. Interviews with species leaders talking about what they learned from watching him. The Quilvan Empire had declared it a day of celebration. The human government had sent him a medal. This is too much, Hyun said quietly. The hospital door opened. Ambassador Taewon entered, followed by several other officials. They all looked serious. Janitor Hyun, Taewon said formally. We need to discuss your employment status. Hyun's heart sank. He had known this was coming. He had broken rules. He had used station property without permission. He had disrupted a diplomatic ceremony. Of course they were going to fire him. I understand, he said. Taewon pulled out a datapad. He read from it in an official voice. As of this morning, your position as maintenance worker on Harmony 7 Station has been terminated. Hyun nodded. He had expected this. At least he had helped Princess Vara. That was worth losing his job. However, Taewon continued, and there was a smile in his voice now. You have been offered 37 new positions from various organizations across the galaxy. The Quilvan Empire wants you as a royal engineer. The Talgrid Republic wants you to design rescue equipment. 3 universities want you as a professor. 12 companies want to hire you. And the human government wants you to lead a new division focused on adaptive technology. Hyun stared at him. What? Minji laughed. You broke the rules and became too valuable to punish. That is very human of you. I do not want those jobs, Hyun said. I just want to clean floors and be left alone. That option is no longer available, Taewon said gently. You changed too much. You showed the galaxy something they needed to see. Now they will not let you hide. The door opened again. This time it was Princess Vera. She had to duck to fit through the doorway. She looked different. She stood taller. She smiled more easily. She moved with confidence. Hyun. She rushed to his bedside. They said you were awake. How do you feel? Like I was stepped on by a Quilvan princess, he joked weakly. She laughed. It was a real laugh, bright and happy. I am so glad you are okay. I was worried. She looked at the others. Can I speak with him alone? The officials left. Minji hesitated, but Hyun nodded. She left too. Vera pulled a chair close to the bed. The chair was meant for smaller species and looked tiny under her. I owe you everything, she said seriously. You owe me nothing. I owe you my dignity, my confidence, my future. She took his hand gently in her massive ones. Because of you, everything has changed. My father called me. He apologized. He said he was wrong to be ashamed of me. He said he was proud. Tears ran down her gray cheeks. My family invited me to the next royal feast. Not to eat alone. To eat with everyone. Other Quilvan have been sending messages, telling me their own stories, telling me I inspired them. She wiped her eyes. All because you carried me, because you refused to give up. I just did what anyone should do. But no one else did. Only you. She squeezed his hand. I came to offer you a position. I want you to be my personal engineer. To work with me creating technology that helps beings who are different, who do not fit, who need support. Hyun was quiet for a moment. That is a kind offer. But I am not sure I am ready to leave this station. I understand. But please think about it. I will wait for your answer. She stood up. One more thing. Ambassador Bourne was removed from his position. My father said he failed to see what was truly important. He failed to support me when I needed it. I am sorry, Hyun said. I did not mean to cost him his job. Do not be sorry. He cost himself his job by being small-minded. You just revealed it. She smiled. I must go. There are meetings, interviews. Apparently I am famous now too. But I wanted to see you first, to thank you properly. After she left, the doctors came to check on Hyun. They said he could leave the hospital in a few days. They also said he needed to be more careful. Human bodies were not designed for what he had done. Over the next week, Hyun received visitors constantly. Other humans from the station came to congratulate him. Aliens he had never met came to thank him. Children wanted his autograph. News reporters wanted interviews. It was exhausting. Administrator Grix came too, looking uncomfortable. I owe you an apology, he said stiffly. I was wrong to try to stop you. I was thinking about procedure and reputation, not about what was right. Apology accepted, Hyun said. I am being reassigned, Grix continued, to a smaller station, a quieter position. It is a demotion, but I deserve it. I let politics blind me to compassion. He stood to leave. For what it is worth, what you did was remarkable. I hope I can learn from it. After he left, Minji came back. She had been busy handling the flood of messages and offers that kept coming. You need to make a decision, she said, about what you do next. I know. What are you thinking? Hyun looked out the hospital window at the stars. I spent years hiding from my past, trying to forget that I was an engineer. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe I can build things that help people without building things that hurt people. So you are considering the offers? Maybe, but on my terms. I do not want to work for a government or a big company. I want to work for people who need help. People like Vara. People who are different and need someone to see them. Minji smiled. That sounds like you. A few days later, Hyun was released from the hospital. He went back to his quarters to find them filled with gifts, flowers from species he had never heard of, art made in his honor, letters from beings across the galaxy thanking him for inspiring them. He sat on his bed, overwhelmed. His datapad beeped. It was a message from his sister. He had not heard from her in 2 years. I saw what you did, the message said. I was wrong about you. You did not waste your life. You found the most important work of all, helping people who need it. I am proud to be your sister. Please call me when you can. Hyun felt tears on his face. He had thought his family did not understand him. Maybe they were starting to. Another message came through. This one was from an organization called the Adaptive Technology Initiative. They were a small group focused on creating tools for beings with different needs. They had been inspired by his exoskeleton. They wanted to hire him to design similar equipment for others. The offer was modest, much less money than the other positions, but it was exactly what he wanted. A chance to build things that helped, a chance to use his skills for good. He accepted the offer. Over the next months, Hyun worked with the Adaptive Technology Initiative. He designed equipment for species with physical challenges. He built mobility aids for injured soldiers. He created tools that let beings do jobs they could never do before. Minji joined him as a partner. Together, they opened a small workshop on Earth. It was not fancy. It was not glamorous. But it was theirs. Princess Vera visited often. She became an advocate for beings who were different. She started programs across the galaxy promoting acceptance and support. She called it the Carry Each Other Initiative. Humans across the galaxy took notice. The story of Hyun and Vara became a teaching example. Schools told the story to children. Military academies used it as a case study in creative problem-solving. Diplomats referenced it in negotiations. Humanity's reputation changed. They were no longer seen as just another species. They were seen as the species that helped. The species that innovated. The species that refused to give up on people. 1 year after the ceremony, Hyun was invited back to Harmony 7 Station. There was going to be a memorial. A permanent reminder of what happened on the Bridge of Unity. He almost did not go. He did not like attention. But Minji convinced him. You started something, she said. You should see what it has become. They traveled to the station together. When they arrived, they found the Grand Hall transformed. In the center, where the Bridge of Unity had been, now stood a statue. The statue showed a figure carrying another figure across a bridge. The species were not specified. It could be any being carrying any other being. The message was universal. At the base was a plaque. It read, "We rise when we lift others," dedicated to all beings who choose compassion over convenience, who see people, not problems, who carry each other forward. Thousands of beings attended the ceremony. Princess Vara gave a speech about dignity and support. Ambassador Taewon spoke about human value. 3 months after the memorial ceremony, Hyun sat in his workshop on Earth. The building was small and old, located in a quiet part of the city. The sign outside said Adaptive Solutions in simple letters. Inside, the walls were covered with blueprints and half-finished machines. Minji worked at a table across from him, welding pieces of metal together. The smell of hot metal filled the air. Music played softly from speakers. It was peaceful. The door chimed. A young human woman entered. She walked with crutches. One of her legs ended at the knee. She looked nervous. Are you Hyun? She asked. Yes, please sit down. Hyun gestured to a chair. How can I help you? The woman sat carefully. My name is Yoonji. I lost my leg in an accident 2 years ago. I have a prosthetic, but it does not work well. I cannot run. I cannot climb stairs easily. I cannot do many things I used to do. I am sorry, Hyun said gently. I saw the video of you carrying Princess Vera. I saw the exoskeleton you built. I thought maybe you could help me too, build something that would let me move better. She looked down. I do not have much money. But I can pay something, Hyun smiled. Money is not the most important thing. Tell me about yourself. What do you want to do that you cannot do now? They talked for an hour. Yoonji told him about her life. She had been a dancer before the accident. She missed dancing more than anything. She missed the feeling of moving freely. When she finished, Hyun nodded. I can help you. It will take some time, maybe 2 months, but I think I can build something that will work. Really? Unji's eyes filled with tears. You can do that? I can try. That is all I ever do. Try my best. Yoonji became their first official client. Hyun measured her leg carefully. He studied how she moved. He designed a prosthetic that was more than just a replacement leg. It was a tool that enhanced movement. He used lightweight materials. He added small motors. He created a control system that responded to her thoughts through nerve sensors. It was expensive to build, but Hyun used money from the awards he had received to cover the costs. While he worked on Yoonji's prosthetic, more people came. A Quilvan soldier who had lost an arm in the war. A human child who was born without full use of her hands. A Greshkin whose wings were damaged and could not fly anymore. Each person had a story. Each person had a need, and Hyun tried to help them all. The workshop became busier. Jisoo joined them full-time, bringing her engineering skills. Taeho helped with the medical aspects, making sure their designs were safe. Soman handled security and logistics. They were a team, a small team doing important work. One day, Princess Vara visited the workshop. She had to duck to enter through the door. She looked around at the projects covering every surface. "You are doing good work here," she said. "Trying to," Hyun replied. He was tired. He had been working 16-hour days, but he was happy. "I came with a proposal," Vara said. She pulled out a data pad. "I want to expand what you are doing. I have funding from the Quilvan Empire. I want to open workshops like this across the galaxy, places where beings can get help regardless of their ability to pay." Hyun put down his tools. "That is a big project. Yes, and I need someone to lead it. Someone who understands the purpose. Someone who builds for people, not for profit." She looked at him hopefully. "I am asking you again. Will you work with me?" Hyun thought about it. He looked around his small workshop. It was comfortable here, safe. But Vara was right. They could help more people with more resources. "On one condition," he said. "This stays about helping people, not about fame or politics or making money. If it ever becomes about those things, I walk away." "Agreed," Vara said immediately. They shook hands. Her hand was huge compared to his, but the grip was gentle. Over the next months, they opened 5 new workshops across the galaxy. Each one was staffed by beings who cared about helping others. Each one focused on adaptive technology for those who needed it. The project grew. They helped thousands of beings, soldiers who had lost limbs in wars, children born with differences, elderly beings who could no longer move easily. Each person received equipment designed specifically for them. News of the project spread. Other species contributed funding. Universities sent students to learn. The workshops became training centers for a new generation of adaptive engineers. But success brought problems. A large corporation called Nexus Industries contacted Hyun. They wanted to buy the rights to his designs. They offered billions of credits. They said they could mass-produce the equipment and help millions more beings. Hyun refused. "Our designs are free," he told their representatives. "Anyone can use them. That is the point. But we could make them better," the Nexus representative argued. "We have resources you do not have. We have factories and distribution networks. And you would charge high prices," Hyun said. "You would turn help into profit. That is not what this is about," the representative was angry. "You are being foolish. You could be rich. You could help more people with our resources." "I can help people just fine without becoming rich," Hyun said. "Thank you for your interest." But no, after they left, Minji looked at him. "You know they might try to steal the designs anyway. Let them. The designs are public. Anyone can use them. If Nexus Industries wants to make cheaper versions and sell them, fine. As long as beings get help, I do not care who provides it." But Nexus Industries did not give up easily. They began a campaign against the workshops. They spread rumors that the equipment was dangerous. They hired lawyers to find legal problems. They tried to shut the project down. Hyun was frustrated but not surprised. Big companies do not like competition, even when we are not really competing. Princess Vara used her influence to fight back. The Quilvan Empire supported the workshops officially. Other governments followed. The pressure on Nexus Industries grew. Finally, Nexus Industries changed tactics. Instead of fighting, they offered a partnership. They would manufacture the equipment using Hyun's designs. They would sell it at cost, making no profit. They would donate a percentage of production to the workshops for free distribution. Hyun was suspicious. Why the change? The new Nexus representative was different from the first one. She was an older woman with kind eyes. "Because your work is changing public opinion. Beings across the galaxy support you. Fighting you makes us look bad. So we decided to join you instead. And you truly will not seek profit? We will make some profit from maintenance and training. But the equipment itself will be sold at cost. We have put this in writing. We have legal contracts. Princess Vara's lawyers have reviewed everything. Hyun discussed it with his team. They were divided. Some thought Nexus Industries would betray them eventually. Others thought the partnership could help millions more beings. Finally, Hyun made a decision. We will try it. For 1 year. If they break their promises, we end the partnership. If they keep their promises, we continue. The partnership began. Nexus Industries manufactured equipment based on Hyun's designs. They sold it cheaply. They donated supplies to the workshops. For 6 months, everything worked well. Then problems started. The equipment Nexus produced was not as good as what Hyun built by hand. It was cheaper, but it broke more often. It fit less well. It helped less. Hyun confronted the Nexus representative. Your quality is declining. We are trying to keep costs low, she explained. Better materials cost more. Then charge more, or make less. But do not sacrifice quality. These are not products. They are tools that beings depend on to live their lives. Nexus Industries resisted at first, but Hyun was prepared to end the partnership. He made it clear publicly. The public supported him. Nexus Industries changed their production process. Quality improved. It was not perfect. It never would be. But it was better than nothing. Meanwhile, Yoonji came back to the workshop. She was wearing the prosthetic Hyun had built for her. She walked without crutches. She moved smoothly and easily. Watch this, she said, smiling. She began to dance. Her movements were graceful and controlled. The prosthetic responded perfectly to her intentions. She spun and leaped and moved like she had before the accident. When she finished, she was crying. You gave me my life back. Hyun shook his head. You did that. I just gave you a tool. You did the hard work of learning to use it. But without the tool, I could not have done it, she hugged him. Thank you. Thank you so much. Other clients came back with similar stories. A Quilvan soldier who could work again. A child who could play with friends. An elderly being who could walk in the garden. Each story reminded Hyun why he did this work. It was not about fame or recognition. It was about the moment when someone could do something they thought they would never do again. One evening, Hyun and Minji sat on the roof of the workshop. They looked at the city lights below, the stars above. Do you ever miss just cleaning floors? Minji asked. Hyun laughed. Sometimes. It was simpler, quieter, no corporations trying to buy me out, no pressure to help millions of beings. But this matters more. Cleaning floors is honest work, good work. But this work changes lives. I cannot walk away from that. Minji nodded. I am glad you said yes to Princess Vara that day. Not just for her, for everyone who has been helped since then. I am glad too, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. 5 years had passed since the walk across the Bridge of Unity. The galaxy had changed in small and large ways. Wars had ended. New alliances had formed. But perhaps the biggest change was in how beings saw each other. Hyun stood in his workshop watching a young girl work. Her name was Nari, and she was 10 years old. She had been born without a left hand, but now she wore a mechanical one that Hyun had designed. She was using it to build her own small project, a toy robot. Is this right? She asked, showing him her work. Hyun examined it carefully. The wiring is good, but you need to strengthen this joint here. It will break under stress. Nari nodded seriously and went back to work. She had been coming to the workshop every day after school for 3 months. She wanted to be an engineer like Hyun. The workshop had grown larger over the years. It now occupied an entire building. Dozens of people worked there, both human and alien. They built equipment for beings across the galaxy who needed help. Minji entered carrying coffee for both of them. She was older now, with gray starting to show in her hair, but her smile was still the same. Nari is doing well, she said, watching the girl work. She learns fast. She will be better than me someday. Everyone you teach will be better than you. That is the point. Minji sipped her coffee. Did you see the news? The Galactic Council approved the Dignity Accords. Every species has to provide support for beings with different abilities now. It is law, Hyun nodded. Good. It should have been law a long time ago. It is law because of you. Because of what you started. I just carried a princess across a bridge. Minji laughed. You keep saying that. But you know it was more. It changed how the galaxy thinks about strength and weakness, about helping each other. The door to the workshop opened. Princess Vara entered, ducking as always. She was a regular visitor now. She and Hyun had become close friends over the years. But today she looked troubled. Hyun, Minji, I need to talk to you both. She glanced at Nari. In private, please. They went to Hyun's office. It was small and cluttered with papers and half-finished designs. Vara sat carefully in a reinforced chair. What is wrong? Hyun asked. The Quilvan Empire is facing a crisis. A disease has spread through our population. It affects our joints and muscles. Many Quilvan can no longer move easily. They need help. But we do not have enough medical staff or equipment. She looked at Hyun with worried eyes. I am asking for your help. I know you are busy here. I know you have many projects. But my people need you. Hyun did not hesitate. Of course I will help. What do you need? We need mobility equipment. Exoskeletons like the one you built for me. But hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. We need them quickly. Hyun thought about the logistics. It was a huge project. It would require all their resources. It would mean delaying other work. But that was what they did. They helped when help was needed. We will do it, he said. Give me the specifications. Tell me what your people need. We will start immediately. Vera's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I knew I could count on you. Over the next weeks, the workshop transformed into a production facility. They worked 18-hour days designing and building exoskeletons for the Quilvan. Nexus Industries provided materials and manufacturing support. Other workshops across the galaxy sent volunteers. It was exhausting work. Hyun barely slept. His team pushed themselves to their limits. But they knew the Quilvan people were suffering. They knew speed was important. Nari helped too. She could not build exoskeletons, but she organized supplies. She helped with simple tasks. She worked as hard as the adults. Why are we doing this? She asked Hyun one evening. Both of them were tired and covered in grease. Because people need help, Hyun said simply. But there are so many of them. We cannot help everyone. No, we cannot. But we can help these people. Right now, that is enough. Nari thought about this. Is that why you carried Princess Vara? Because she needed help right then? Yes, but you were just a janitor. Why did you think you could help? Hyun smiled. I did not think I could help. I just thought I should try. And it turned out that trying was enough. They built 400 exoskeletons in 2 months. It was a miracle of organization and dedication. When they were finished, Hyun and his team traveled to the Quilvan homeworld to deliver them personally. The Quilvan homeworld was beautiful. Golden palaces rose above forests of silver trees. Rivers sparkled in the sunlight. But in the hospitals, Quilvan lay unable to move, their bodies failing them. Hyun and his team fit each patient with an exoskeleton. They taught them how to use the equipment. They made adjustments to fit each individual. One elderly Quilvan male wept when he stood for the first time in months. I thought I would never walk again. I thought my life was over. Your life is not over, Hyun said gently. It is just different now. But you can still walk. You can still live. The Quilvan Emperor himself came to thank Hyun. He was massive and old with gold markings on his gray skin. He bowed deeply to Hyun. You have saved many of my people. How can I repay this debt? There is no debt, Hyun said. This is what beings do for each other. We help when help is needed. The Emperor smiled. My daughter chose her friend well. You are always welcome in the Quilvan Empire, Hyun of Earth. Before leaving the planet, Hyun visited the Golden Palace. Princess Vara gave him a tour. She showed him the gardens where flowers sang and rivers ran like sunset. They walked through rooms filled with art and history. They stood on balconies looking over the capital city. Do you remember when we first met? Vara asked. When I was crying in the garden? I remember. I was so lost then, so hopeless. I thought my weight defined me. I thought I was worthless, and now? Vara smiled. Now I know my weight is just one part of me, not the most important part. I am valued for my mind, my compassion, my work, not for how much I weigh or how I look, she looked at Hyun. You taught me that. By refusing to see me as a burden. By seeing me as a person. You were always a person. You just needed a reminder. They stood together in comfortable silence looking at the beautiful world around them. What happens next? Vara asked. You have built so much, helped so many. What is left? Hyun thought about the question. There is always more. More people who need help, more problems to solve. More bridges to build. Will you keep doing this? Or will you finally rest? I will keep doing this until I cannot anymore. This work is too important, and I am not ready to stop, Vara nodded. Then I will keep working with you. We make a good team. Yes, we do. When Hyun returned to Earth, he found the workshop busier than ever. News of the Quilvin project had spread. More beings wanted help. More volunteers wanted to join the team, but Hyun noticed something else too. Young beings were coming to learn. Students from universities, apprentices wanting to train. The next generation of adaptive engineers. Nari was still there every day after school. But now she brought friends. Other children who wanted to build things that helped people. One day, Hyun gathered all the young people together. There were 20 of them, human and alien, all eager to learn. I want to tell you a story, he said. 5 years ago, a princess asked me if I would carry her. I said yes. That decision changed my life. It changed many lives. He looked at each of them. But the story is not about me. It is about choosing to help. About seeing someone who needs support and deciding to provide it. He held up a piece of metal. This is just metal. It means nothing by itself. But when we shape it with care and purpose, when we build it for someone specific, it becomes something important. It becomes hope. It becomes freedom. It becomes possibility. He handed the metal to Nari. Each of you will build many things in your life. I hope you build things that help. I hope you build for people who need you. I hope you say yes when someone asks for help. The children nodded seriously. They understood. Over the next years, those young people became skilled engineers. They opened their own workshops. They helped their own communities. They carried forward the work that Hyun had started. The galaxy continued to change. The Dignity Accords led to new laws protecting beings with differences. Hospitals and schools adapted their designs to be more inclusive. Companies began hiring beings they would have rejected before. It was not perfect. There was still prejudice, still discrimination. Still beings who were left behind, but it was better, and it kept getting better. 10 years after the walk, Hyun received a request to return to Harmony 7 Station. They wanted to update the memorial. They wanted to add something new. Hyun traveled there with Minji, Vara, and many of the team members who had helped over the years. When they arrived, they found the Grand Hall packed with beings from across the galaxy. The statue still stood in the center, showing one being carrying another across a bridge. But now surrounding it were smaller statues, hundreds of them. Each one showed a different act of support. A being helping another walk, someone teaching, someone building, someone caring. At the base of the central statue, the plaque had been updated. It now read, "We rise when we lift others." This memorial honors all beings who choose to carry each other, who see people, not problems, who say yes when asked for help. May we all carry each other forward. Below that was a list of names. Thousands of them. People who had been helped by the workshops. People who had volunteered. People who had donated. People who had spread the message. Hyun's name was there.